Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll get started here in just a few minutes.
Hello, everybody. Mine says Deanna Thompson, but that's okay.
Hi, Quentin.
Hello, thank you to everybody that's joined so far. We're gonna get started in just 1 minute, so just hang tight and we'll jump in soon.
Hi, Deanna.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All right, it's 11:30 Pacific time. I think we've got all our panelists in. Kathleen, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is part 3 of our series with Marquis. As you know, they've been sharing best practices, tips, and tricks on really how to buy, sell, and trade luxury handbags, right? Like top performing pawnbrokers. And so today we're wrapping up our series with maybe one of the more difficult topics, which is how do you have that conversation when a customer comes in and they actually have a counterfeit product? So how do you be delicate with that? So Deanna and Quentin are going to talk us through that. You're familiar with Deanna and Quentin, of course. Tally's also on the line as a panelist, and I apologize, I don't have her picture up here, but we also have Beth Anundy, who's going to be one of our panelists and will share as well stories and firsthand experience. So thank you to everyone for being here for our final presentation with Marquis. Okay, so what we're going to cover today, some do's and don'ts of customer conversations. These may seem obvious, but this would be the time to hop in the chat, ask if you need some example talking points, or if there are specific situations you've run into that you need help navigating. Then we're going to do a little bit of an I Spy to see if you can actually spot the counterfeit product. And then we just want to do a little bit of a series recap and answer a couple of questions that have come in after the first and second webinars. As always, we are recording today's presentation, so you will receive the recording of that. Based on some feedback we were getting, some of you may not be getting the recording. So throughout the presentation, I'm going to drop in a link where you can resubscribe to our emails, because if you have unsubscribed at any point, that's why you're not getting the recordings. As always, we love participation. Take advantage of the breadth and depth of knowledge and experience on the line today. And of course, you can always reach out to anybody directly if there's something you want to dive deeper into. Okay, so let's get into the heart of today's presentation, which is these critical customer conversations. How do you have them, and what are tips and tricks? So Deanna, I'm going to turn it over to you with our first tip being that people need to be empathetic. So talk us through that. What does that mean? And then we can jump into some of those do's and don'ts.
It means be kind. If anybody's bringing you in a bag that is counterfeit, you always have to kind of err on the side of they may not know, because the last thing you want to do is offend someone that may be a very, very good potential customer. So, you know, you want to be kind to them, and you want to use this moment to educate them and to turn them into a customer. So when somebody brings you a bag in, and I've dealt with this multiple times, you always say, thank you. You know, where did you get the bag at? You know, do you have a receipt? And 9 times out of 10, there's going to be some long story about, oh, it was in my grandmother's closet. She left it to me. Oh, she only wore authentic. She would never have a fake, blah, blah, blah. There's a million stories out there. I don't really listen to any of them. If you have the box and the dust bag and the receipt and it all checks out, that's great. Then we go into the item. And again, from past webinars, we've said all those things can be counterfeited. So you really want to look at the item themselves. So don't be rude. Don't be accusatory that they're trying to get one over on you or something like that. And don't ever assume that they know it's counterfeit. And it's funny because I did an authentication event when I was with the Entropy at Beth's store. And there were, you know, it was free. So everybody was bringing their bags in. And there was one woman, really super nice. She could have swore that that bag was authentic. I believe it was a Louis Vuitton, if I remember correctly. And it wasn't. And I always feel bad because, you know, they're thinking, oh, you know, I've got a gold mine here. I'm going to make a bunch of money. And it's worthless. So I always want to come from, again, a place of being empathetic and kind to them. So you just gently share that, you know, I'm so sorry, this isn't authentic, but let me show you why. And then you can point out, you know, the heat stamp, how it should look. If you have one in your store, doesn't have to be the same style, but the same brand, you can kind of compare it. So you want to use that moment as an educational time to explain to them why it's not authentic and why there's no value there. That's the biggest thing. And that allows them to look at you as a person of trust, that you're actually taking the time to help them. It may not be with money, but you're helping them to educate them. And that goes a very long way. So just taking a moment to say, hey, you know what, I'm so sorry, it's not authentic, but this is why it's not. That's, you know, the best thing that you can do.
Great. Thank you so much. And we have, we'll go a little bit more into that education piece. I was wondering, Beth, Quentin, if there's anything, just helpful tips or things that you've noticed in how you respond to people, certain even phrases or words that you're using with them in order to, you know, let them know first that this isn't authentic, you know, but still make them feel like they're a valued customer.
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry. Yeah, I think so. So when somebody does come in and you do review an item, and after the review, whether you're doing it with Entropy or just going through it and utilizing some of the comparisons that are suggested here, and I'll let Deanna go through those, it is an opportunity to educate the individual on why the item is not authentic. In a lot of cases, if you have the item on the shelf, or you can compare whether it's the hardware or the fonts that are different between the non-authentic versus the authentic ones, what it does is it creates some confidence in the buyer that you're an authority, or excuse me, the seller, that you're an authority in the business in terms of authentication. And inside of that process, creating and positioning yourself as an authority, a lot of times that creates another sale. So if the item is not authentic and you're going through the process and explaining to the customer why it's not authentic, they have confidence in you, and either you're going to create a customer at that moment or in the future. So I always look at those opportunities when somebody brings in a non-authentic item to basically create a customer as a result.
Great. Thank you, Beth. Anything that you would add? Things that have worked well for you?
One of the things that I like to make sure that we do is not use the word real versus fake. We never use the word fake, which you've heard Deanna and Quentin say both times that they were talking, that they said not authentic. And that gives you a lot of authority. And it also makes them feel as if you're not accusing them. So that's one of the big takeaways that I always hear from my team when I'm explaining to them how to talk to people, because they want to use fake and real. And when you use fake and real, immediately you've created the defenses come up for that customer. So make sure you stay away from those words and use authentic versus inauthentic. And when you're looking at it, something I learned from Deanna, which she said earlier, which I just want to reiterate, is, would you like to know why I think that this is inauthentic? And that is, it just creates a conversation versus that feeling of accusing somebody.
And they really
As
like
many of you,
that.
yeah, they
Go
do
ahead.
like that. And as many of you know, and many of you do use entropy, they do utilize a very specific terminology. They use the word unidentified. There's many reasons for that, but that is a nice softer way to basically describe the item. If you're utilizing entropy as basically your baseline in terms of authentication, you can say that the item has come back unidentified. And so that way, again, it's a softer approach than saying the word fake.
Yeah, and using that again as an educational moment, like just explaining on an authentic bag, this is how Louis Vuitton does their heat stamp, or this is what the stitches should look like, or they use this type of hardware. And then when you're comparing it, and again, it doesn't have to be the same style, but the same brand, you know, it goes so far because it shows that you care. And again, you are being empathetic because you're not accusing them of doing anything wrong. They came in for a reason. And while that didn't pan out, they're getting something much more valuable in return because it's going to help them, you know, make better choices when they're out and about, like shopping or, you know, buying or selling or anything like that. So just be kind. That's it.
It also gives them the opportunity to make that choice for themselves. When you say, would you like to know why? They don't have to say, yeah, I want to know why. They can say, no, and they can leave. And that actually helps too in, again, establishing your authority in a positive way because you've given them the opportunity to say yes or no.
And if they do say yes to that, and then they want to see other items that you have on the shelves, then that's your turn to kind of explain who you are, what you do, the payment plans you offer, because normally if they have something like this, I would say 8 out of 10 times they have more or they want more. So you also want to use that opportunity to explain, hey, like, you know, Beth, I believe yours is 10-10, your payment plan, like 10-10-10, super easy to remember, but wow, I can get an authentic investment piece, Louis Vuitton, and make payments on it. That's amazing, you know? So if you're getting them in the store, use that time the best that you can.
Those are great. Comparisons work. Avoid using real and fake. Establish yourself as an authority and see this as an opportunity to educate and perhaps in the end up with a customer that maybe you wouldn't have had before. We have Michael Mack on the line too, as he's our guest star. He's appeared as another panelist. So Michael, I think that there were some things that you wanted to share as well.
You're on mute now.
But it looks like you're mute.
Am I on?
Yes.
Okay. So love the subject matter. Love the panelists. What I'd like to add is, you know, we see quite a few non-authentic items come through the store. And I think you guys hit it on the head. Never say the word fake. We have, you know, of course, we use different steps on authenticating any type of item. And so when it does not come back positive for us, we go back to the client, potential client. And like you say, they could have got it as a gift. They could have got it on their own. They could have bought it in Asia when they were there. We don't know how they got it. We just assume that they have it. And so we say to them that this did not pass the test of all the phases when we authenticate. It's just not going through. So we make it sound like, because the way I make it feel, the customer feel is they're bummed out. And for us, the pawnbroker, to be the bad guy and say, oh, that's fake, that just makes them feel worse. So why should we? If their husband or fiance bought them a bag in China, why should we be the bad guy? We should just send it back to their husband and say, just didn't pass the test. And the test could be entropy. It could be, you know, how we physically, you know, authenticate a bag. But I love the subject.
Yeah, even just saying, you know, unfortunately, we cannot confirm the authenticity of this item.
Right.
That's super sweet. And again, it's gentle. It's not accusatory because, you know, like Michael said, no one knows where that bag came from. Everybody has a story. So you always want to err on the side of, you know, gentleness.
And you want to, I mean, you can use that for yourself too. When you say, hey, I'm bummed too. I wanted this to be real, but it doesn't pass the test. I'm so sad for you and with you.
Yeah.
Because, and the main reason you want to do that is They may have four genuine bags at home. You don't want to blow them out of the water. So we're on your side, just like Deanna said. We're sad that this is happening. We love taking real bags. You know, that's our business. We hate turning away this bag.
Those are great. Thank you guys so much. All right, we had one more third tip. I think you've touched on this a little bit. Tally, we can go ahead and move forward with the presentation. And we have kind of talked about this, but Deanna, one of the things that you and I had spoken about that you feel is a great opportunity is you're educating somebody, they're listening to you now, they've agreed, like Beth has said, to say, yeah, I do actually want to understand why this isn't authentic. And now you can explain the investment opportunity in an authentic item. So can you talk us through that? And Tally, I think you can move forward to that next slide as well.
Sure. Well, look at counterfeits. They're worthless. It's illegal to sell. And, you know, while there's varying degrees of counterfeits from really crappy to mirror image, they're all worthless because, again, illegal to sell. So you want to have that conversation with your customer and explain that, you know, this isn't just a handbag. Like a Louis Vuitton is not just a bag. Chanel is not just a bag. These are investment opportunities, not like putting it in the bank or the stock market or anything like that. These will continue to rise. And it's just, this is fact. This is what the market does. Chanel had, I think, 2 increases, maybe 3 in the past year in the middle of a pandemic. People are still buying them. So a bag that you paid $5,800 for is now $6,800. The resale market, you're going to get a deal, but it's not going to lose the value. I mean, again, everything's based on condition, but if you buy a Louis Vuitton for $800 and you treat it well, you could probably, depending on style, get that 800, maybe even more, or maybe a little bit less, but it's going to stay generally in that area. So investing in handbags as opposed to counterfeits, you're going to retain a lot of your money. And understanding the differences between the both is key also. But just really, you know, when you have a customer in and they want to know why it was not authentic and then why they should pay $800 for a bag, explain it holds its value. I mean, people are putting money into bags now instead of the stock market because it's just fact. I mean, I've had bags go in and out of my life that I have sold for other things that I wanted because I knew if I could buy it at a good price, take care of it, I would get my money back or more, you know? And again, everything's based on condition and style, but you know, just explaining to those people that walk through the doors that your money's good in these bags, the luxury bags. And of course, not all luxury bags, not all luxury brands, but you know, the ones that you want to see the most of, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, you know, Gucci, Prada, things like that. So I hope that makes sense.
You know, I wanted to just jump in real quick. You mentioned something that I always smacks me in the face, and that's fake bags, not authentic bags. And we have, as pawnbrokers, have the opportunity to buy non-authentic items and sell them and make a lot of money. And what you have to decide is, you got to decide if you want to be in the real game, in the genuine, authentic game, or you want to be in the fake game. Because the fake game, there's a business out there. I've always chosen, and who I talk to is go into the real game because it's steady, it stays forever, it's never going anywhere, and it's not illegal. That's the most important thing. You're selling illegal items when if you get one fake bag and, oh, we put on there, it's fake. Don't do it. Don't put it on your shelf because tell me, my store is a high volume store with a lot of bags going in and out. Louis Vuitton visits me, Chanel visits me. They want to see me have a fake bag. They want to shut me down.
You know, the thing is though, not even that, the fact that it is illegal, you are going to lose all credibility within your store because when you're selling counterfeits, you may make a couple of bucks, but it cheapens you and your brand. So I don't know anybody in business who actually wants to do that. So even if you start small with one authentic bag and then bring in more, you want to become literally not the educational, but you want to be the place where everybody comes to buy authentic, to loan on authentic, and to sell authentic bags. Do not touch counterfeits. The money is not worth it, because again, you're cheapening your brand. And then everybody's going to look at you with distaste because they don't trust you. That's fact.
That trust and authority is really important. And I would like to say, for those of you that are beginning this, part of what you want to do is keep some of those fake bags so that you can train your team. And you also want to keep them because every once in a while, when you're new at this, every once in a while, you'll come across something that you deem as fake. And when you run it through entropy, it's real. So you need to really have a clarity about what's authentic and not authentic, and entropy helps. But keep a hold of some of those for training purposes only. Make sure they're marked really well. And I don't know if it's okay to say this here, but you can also send those to entropy and they can use them to help their algorithm.
You can send them to us too. We'll take them.
Yeah, we take them as well. We take them as well because we're doing training through the mentor program. So
yeah, so that
we'll take them and then we destroy them.
You know, one little story I want to tell is there's a pawnbroker in California that had a Chanel bag that he was for sure fake, and it was on his desk for literally 2 years. There was crap piled on top of it, everything. Got him set up with entropy, found out it was authentic and it was worth like $3,000, and he was just floored. So, you know, again, education is the biggest proponent for you and your employees, because in turn, they're going to educate your customers, which is going to build that connection of trust and value. And then you will become the place that everybody brings their bags in.
Wonderful. Anything that anyone else wants to add? Quentin, Michael, we're talking about how to have the investment conversation.
The only other thing I might mention here is that sometimes we'll walk into either a pawn shop or even a resale shop and they'll have authentic bags, but then they'll have non-authentic pillows or other things that have the logo on there. Unfortunately, or the logo, the branded logos, either Chanel or Louis Vuitton or alike. Unfortunately, it's a mixed message. So again, speaking to what Michael mentioned earlier, I think it's important to have a very consistent message. The message is that you're an authority in terms of only selling authentic items. So there's no reason to sell those other items, although they're high margin from what I hear. In the end, it's just not worth it. Again, it's a mixed message. You're confusing the customer. So how can you authenticate an item when in the background you have a non-authentic Chanel pillow? It just doesn't make sense. So I think you'd have to be consistent. It's not worth it. Yeah.
Quentin, do you feel the same way about recycled bags and being turned into keychains or things like that? Is that go along?
Yeah, I'm actually coincidentally here at our Dallas showroom, and there are people that basically sell that here in other showrooms. And again, unfortunately, it's not consistent with the original brand. And there are several lawsuits that are pending right now, one with the Real, one with What Goes Around Comes Around, for this exact reason. When the item is necessarily altered or the item is not originally an item for retail sale, it's not considered an authentic item, and therefore it's just not worth it. Again, I see that happening in many instances with lighter covers and pop sockets on the back of the phone and things like that. In the end, unfortunately, it's not the original brand, and therefore it's not authentic. It's not.
No, Chanel is suing a little accessories company. They have a massive Instagram following, a little boutique. They're repurposing buttons as earrings and necklaces. Chanel tried to work it out with them. They continue to sell them, and that's going to get really, really expensive for them. And this is recent.
On that point, also, we've had several of our clients' Instagram accounts get taken down as a result of reselling those repurposed Chanel buttons as earrings. Again, it's just simply not worth it. It's a mixed message in the store. And also it's the brands obviously are not for it in any way. So it's not worth doing so.
And this is a real thing. I have a friend who bought just the product to resell. So she had purchased it from somebody that was doing the repurposing. And she did get a letter from Louis Vuitton that said stop and desist, a desist letter. And they're talking about suing her. And she just bought to resell. She didn't even make the product. So be very, very careful.
We have a company here in Nevada that actually repurposes Louis Vuitton bags, and they put like on a Speedy bag, they'll put some tassels on it, and they'll take it from they'll turn it into a soccer mom bag, real cool bag, and they do all these little designs on it, and people are buying them. And I mean, people are taking their stuff and having it redone. And so some of them have come back to me, and we simply say we cannot take them. Unfortunately, when you change the purpose of that bag from a Louis Vuitton bag of however it was, it turns it into a non-authentic bag. It's cool if you want to do that and have it done. Like you say, there's people on Instagram, you can see they're doing it, but the resale ability is zero.
I know we're kind of getting off the topic, but here's the line with Chanel and Louis Vuitton with these products. Chanel has an issue with, you can't say, oh, these are Chanel earrings or they're Chanel repurposed earrings. Chanel never put those earrings out. Louis Vuitton never made that keychain or key ring or the bow or the tassels or whatever it may be. So while you may be using authentic, Louis Vuitton material that you had authenticated by Entropy, Louis Vuitton never made it. So that's where that line is. And again, there's no notice, like you're just shut down, and good luck trying to get it back, because you won't. And I'm talking about like social media accounts and everything like that. If you do happen to get into a lawsuit, it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. And that 20, 40 bucks you're making on that item is not worth it.
I think this is a great conversation. I mean, we started out really just talking about some do's and don'ts, but as people perhaps are thinking about getting into the luxury handbag space, what they're really kind of forced to do is step back and make some branding decisions. Who are we? Where do we draw the line? What sort of thought leader authority do we want to be seen as in our market? And those are important, important decisions to make, and things that ultimately pay off in the long run when you look at brand equity for a company. So I think that this is awesome that we've gone down this road. All right, good. So then we have spotting a counterfeit. This is our, or a non-authentic. Maybe I'm not using the right language on the slide here. Okay, so for those of you on the line, go ahead, pull up your chat. And just a reminder that you'll want to make sure that the little blue button says to all panelists and attendees. And we have, I think, 2 examples. Okay, so you can see the one on the left is 1 and then 2. Please put in what you think the authentic bag is, or the authentic item,
Heat
1
stamp.
or 2.
Yeah.
The heat stamp. Thanks, Deanna. Well, go ahead, put your ideas in here in the next 5-6 seconds. Okay, so mostly 1s. I have to be honest, I was going to put 2 in, but I got peer pressure into putting a 1 after I saw everybody else's responses. I'm not that familiar with this market. Okay. So drum roll. Go ahead, Deanna. What is the authentic piece?
You're all wrong. Number 2 is authentic.
Man, okay, talk us through that. That's the last time I give into peer pressure.
And this is, for as much research as I do, it's scary how good the counterfeits are getting. And it's just scary because, I mean, mirror is not even it anymore. Number 1 looks great, but the one thing that you want to look at is how close the letters are together. So when you're authenticating, or you're looking to authenticate a Louis Vuitton by the heat stamp, first thing you look at is the registered trademark symbol. Is that larger or same size or smaller as the O in Louis Vuitton? So basically the same size. That checks. The L, the bottom of the L is a little long for my taste. So that's one of the red flags right there. The U and the I are super, super close together. There should be a little bit more spacing there. The N looks okay. The T's look okay. The R looks good, because that's the other point you're going to look at, is the leg on the R, where it's coming out from. That looks good. The stitching looks good. On the authentic, the spacing is key. You want to make sure everything, it's hard to say that you want to make sure everything makes sense, but if you don't know, then you don't know. The stitching, the holes are gaping on the authentic when you're looking at this image. That's normal for the factory in Italy. Italy and USA, their manufacturing processes have kind of gone down in the last couple of years. You know, there's going to be little idiosyncrasies on each bag because each bag is done, it's not mass manufactured, but the spacing is the biggest key on the counterfeit one. You see on the authentic one, it's a little just, and it's literally not even probably a millimeter, but it's just that one of those little details that you want to look out for. You know, the fonts look good in both. This would be a difficult one, but yeah, 2 is authentic.
That's amazing. All right, we have another picture here, and I just want people to drop in the chat a yes if you think it's authentic, a no if you think it's non-authentic. So go ahead, take a look, and then put your Y or N in the chat.
This bag is gorgeous too. I love the tweed.
Everybody's scared now.
Well, these are things that you need to know. If you know someone's going to bring in a bag, you need to know, you know, just on an exterior level, you know, what does this brand look like? You know, what does this brand do? What hardware do they use? What, you know, fonts do they use? What does their stamping look like? What do their seams look like? Their thread, like these are all things that you should know for the brands that you see the most in your store.
Okay, so we only had a few responses. At least that went to everyone. They were both yeses. We have a no. All right, Deanna, go ahead.
Okay, it's not authentic. And here's why. So the first thing on the Chanel stamping is the C. It should, a Chanel C should almost look like if a line was drawn around it, a complete circle. This is a little too open for it. The registered trademark, the R should actually be centered in the circle, not to the left. When you're looking at the serial sticker, there's so many things wrong with this. Chanel will be printed continuously on one side of the sticker. On the other side, there will be a black line. The sticker itself with the number should not be this way. It should be this way. It's the registered trademarks are way too big. The font is off. And I think there's too many numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, numbers are good. But those are the things that you want to look at. That is the placement correct? Is it horizontal or vertical? Is that black line there? And then the logos, you know, understanding because Chanel does change their logos over years. So you want to make sure that for that period of time, that, you know, 30 sticker or 12 sticker or, you know, whatever it may be, that it matches the corresponding logos as to what they did for that season.
Those are great and very tricky. So I know during the recap, we'll talk a little bit about marquee mentor, because I think that these are the types of pictures people can send right in via Slack and get answers from your team.
Immediately, yep.
That's awesome. So we'll expand on that in just a moment. But we did have a question come through regarding the repurposing of material. So the question is, what about restaining the straps on a Louis Vuitton? Does that change the authenticity?
No,
Yes.
It doesn't change the authenticity.
It changes. You can't. So Deanna's right. It doesn't necessarily change the authenticity of the bag, but it alters the bag from the original form, and therefore it's no longer considered by the brand standard that the item is still the original brand. It was altered, and as a result, it's not considered the original brand. So is it still an authentic item because the strap has been stained? You could argue that that's the case, but from the brand's perspective, it's been altered, and therefore it's not the original brand.
Nope.
I think.
That's super good information. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yep.
And so, you know, we've had this issue in the past. We sell a lot of Birkins, And a lot of people, use the local shoe lab here in Las Vegas, and they're really, really good. They do all the brands, but they're not done by Hermes. So it does alter it, even though it's the same exact color. They don't, I can't tell the difference. But if you have a good eye, probably like Deanna, probably could tell a difference if it was a Hermes refurb or if it was done by the local place.
There's things that you could do with this. So if you can take it to Louis Vuitton and have like somebody brings you a bag and they want $10 for it, and it's authentic, but it's beat, you can take it to Louis Vuitton and pay the money to have the leather replaced or whatever it may be. Get that quote and see if it makes sense. But there's also amazing companies, like if a zipper is broke or something like that. Rago Brothers is one. Quentin, who's the other one that does Chanel? The leather surgeons. Yeah. These are probably the top, I don't want to say refurbishers, but if you need a zipper fixed or piping is coming out or something like that, you can still sell it. You just need to say that, okay, the piping was replaced by the Rago Brothers or leather surgeons or whoever it may be. As long as people understand that from the get-go, then you're okay. If you're altering the bag, like dyeing the handles, the leather on a Louis Vuitton black or another color, then yeah, that's not Louis Vuitton anymore because they never produced that bag and that colorway. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. I think we had a follow-up question. Is it actually considered counterfeit then to sell that altered bag? Or no, okay. But you'd have to be clear in your language that it's not, straight from the manufacturer, or that it's not like an actual model.
Well, exactly. So anything that comes out of a showroom, whether it's Louis Vuitton, Chanel, or anything like that, the second you purchase it and walk out that door, you now have a used bag. Doesn't matter if it's never seen the light of day, it's used. So when you're listing this or trying to sell it, you just want to say, like, when you're describing your items, if there was an issue, you would say that. You want to say that this is Louis Vuitton. It was, say, Entropy certified. The handles have been dyed blue or whatever. So as long as you're being honest and putting everything out there, in saying that, yes, this has been altered in the secondary market, that's okay. But if you're repurposing it to something else to make keychains, that's a no-no.
You're on mute.
There we go. Thanks so much. Okay, so I think that this is great. After doing the little sneak peeks and seeing how wrong several of us were, including myself, on our guesses about what's authentic and not. Deanna, why don't you tell us a little bit about Marquee Mentor, and then in particular some of the courses that your team is offering and how that helps with authentication or education about it.
Sure. Okay, so Mentor was created literally for anyone looking to launch a luxury resale business. For this industry, the pawn industry, the biggest value for you is going to be the private learning platform, which is on Slack, which gives you access to myself, Graham Wetzberger, who was the director of authentication at the Real for 8 years, Foxy LV, which has a direct line to Louis Vuitton, and all these other amazing advisors where you can post questions or images and get responses in real time. So somebody walks up to your counter with a Fendi baguette and you're like, have zero clue if this is authentic. You can literally use your phone, take pictures, post it in the authentication channel, and within seconds to just a couple of minutes, you're going to have a response from myself or others saying, A, it's authentic, B, it's not authentic, C, we need more pictures. And if you need pricing on it, what you should pay as opposed to what resale is, because I know the pawn industry, we can help you with that. We can help you with style names. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, from building a website to social media to licensing, all these different things. But for you guys, having that instant access to myself and the other advisors, I think is a game changer for anybody in the luxury resale industry. And you guys you're just in a different category. That's it. And then we've created courses. The first one you get for free when you join. You can take it or not because it doesn't really apply to the pawn industry. but the volumes of authentication. I mean, each one has 5 brands. The first one is live. It's Balenciaga, Celine, Chloe, Longchamp, and Louis Vuitton. You get a certificate of completion after the fact, which is really good for your employees. And then so on and so on. And then we're doing books. We've each course, each volume here will have a companion guide that you can purchase, so you have that in your hands. And then we just launched the Chanel reference guide, which is on Amazon. So this is going to be a continuing theme for the mentor program, because literally our whole goal here is your success. And we do that through education, support, and guidance.
One of the things that's awesome about this is your employees actually get the certificate. So they become the person that's been, that has the badge of going through the course. And if you're a Bravo customer, you get 50% off for it. So it's basically 2 for 1 to get your employees the certificates. It's just awesome for ongoing education. It's something that, you know, it's a tool that they have under their belt to help them be more confident. It's just awesome all the way around.
Yeah, we're super excited. These are all the courses are on the Teachable platform. When you finish a course, Teachable produces a certificate, but it's not nearly fancy enough for myself and Quentin. So we're going to FedEx whomever completed the course a hard copy that is suitable for framing, or they can share online, because that's, you know, something that they should add to the resume, because this is, you know, it's a commitment that they're making to continue their education within the luxury resale industry, and especially with a focus on authentication.
Great, thank you. And at the end, I'll put up contact information for Deanna so that you can reach out directly if that's something you're interested in. And then just a follow-up and kind of a recap of the whole series. So we had some questions about where people can find the recordings. They are on Bravo's YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel, and you'll see that there's a playlist option, you can see all of our webinars, not just these ones, but you'll see the series of 3 webinars and those recordings. The other thing is Deanna has been great enough to guest blog. And so she's actually taken and turned each one of these webinars into a blog. So for those of you who'd rather have something to read and look at, it's a recap of all the quick tips. So it's also something really simple for anybody on your team to take a look at if you don't have an hour to listen to the recordings. So the 3rd blog will be up by this time next week. So just wanted to let everybody know that. And I think that's all we have for today. Oh, no. And the last thing, as you go through the courses that Deanna mentioned, we want to go ahead and reward that. And so the badges that you're seeing here, those stars represent the various volumes for the courses offered by Marquis. As you complete those courses, we fill the stars in, and this is a badge that you can put on your website, on your social channels, just as a way of instilling even more confidence in customers and prospects who walk in your store that you are educated about authentic brands.
And so also, if you sell on Buy It or company branded, you know that creating the description is super simple. We've worked with Marquis to update the estimator, both on the loan side and the retail side, to match Marquis' criteria and condition rating. So this is best practice. And then you can basically drag these images into the end of your listings to show that you've been certified. And you only have to do it, you know, once per listing, and then everything goes automatically. So we make that super simple on our side, and Marquis made this process of evaluating handbags best practice for Bravo. And so we're really excited about that. And the feedback so far has been awesome, and it's live on the website already. So if you're a Bravo customer and you're pricing, as of the last webinar, those will now be included online. And as you know, online shoppers, they like to look for the same, there's criteria that they use, which is all now included as your pricing automatically with the drop downs. You don't have to freeform anything. You don't have to risk spelling errors, both on brand names and the way that you're describing these things. So really excited about that.
That's awesome. And I did just drop into the chat the link if you want to subscribe to Bravo emails. We do a newsletter once a month. That's also how you can get the webinar recordings. And then we do send out various pieces of content, including some of the blogs that Deanna's written for us. And as I mentioned, if you want to get in touch about Marquee Mentor, the PLP, getting signed up for the courses, or you just, if there was anything else that you have questions about today, you can go ahead and contact Deanna directly, or if there's something you want to talk to Bravo about, you can contact Tally as well. So if there's no other questions today, I just want to give a big thank you, Beth, for being here, taking the time, and then Deanna and Quentin for being part of the 3-part series. Michael, you were such a fun surprise guest to hop on. I didn't know that was happening. So way to keep me on my toes.
The next webinar that we have scheduled is actually next month. That is a Q2 kickoff. And we are really excited. We did a State of the Bravo Union in January to share initiatives that we had. We've already done 3 releases this year. We have a lot more coming. So if you're on this, keep your eyes peeled for that. We're going to have also our partners on that. So Marquee will be back. And we can't wait to share the new stuff that we've done and what's coming. The countdown is on. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Everybody have a great
Thanks,
day.
Beth. Nice seeing you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.